Dropdown is one of the positions I've seen most commonly incorrectly defended by players of all levels, because there seems to be a bit of a misconception that you have to actually defend the dropdown itself, and if you look at high level play, that's not actually how they defend it, and you're much more a rotator position. So we're going to look at Twistzz today, how he moves around the map, how he does defend this rotator position in the dropdown area, but how he also is very active in his movement to help out his teammates. So initially in these rounds he's going to always Molotov or smoke or something. This is basically to let his teammates set up. If you're a B player, there's probably nothing more frustrating than you trying to set up for your B defense or your A defense, and a player comes rushing down drop and shoots you in the back. So Twistzz, Molotov off straight away. That's very standard stuff. That's just going to prevent this while his teammates set up. And he usually follows this up with a nade and then a smoke if anyone's there. The nades tend to be not very effective. He throws them most rounds, but very rarely does damage, as teams have learnt not to sit there, as maybe if they've watched his demos, he has become quite predictable. But if you are playing your MM games, this might not be as predictable for you if you want to throw a nade every now and then. And moving forward, he positions himself in this window area. You can see right now he is crouched down. He's looking up at the window, or he was looking up at that headshot angle we've seen peek before. And the great thing about this window position is if you do get flashed, or if there's a rush of 4 players, rather than dying, you can get the information and just fall out this window. You're going to be relatively safe. Your teammates can adjust. And this is much better than losing a player and then also not having drop control. It's much better to still have all your 5 players left alive and no drop control, because you can easily adjust and defend this. This window position is very good because you can't get insta headshot. Worst thing that can happen, they might insta shoot you in the legs so you lose 20 points of damage or whatever. So this is very consistent among all pro players. They pretty much all play this, and you can see the exact point of this. He gets flashed out, a very good flash coming from Renegades. He's able to fall out, and JDM's actually quite aggressive in this one. Twistzz can come in and get 1 kill just to help him out. The full eco probably helped JDM there, otherwise he might have got caught off guard. We can see even in other rounds, such as this one versus SK, it's very similar again, a molly than a nade, but this time if you do avoid the utility, you can catch those players as they're hitting the floor and get them off guard. They've got that moving inaccuracy or that falling inaccuracy where you can peek out, jiggle in and out to when that suits you, and if you do get flashed like in that first clip, say JDM wasn't there to take all the heat, you can just fall away and readjust as I said initially. Now your next question might be, well Mr. Putty, what are these adjustments that Twistzz make? Well, they can be minor adjustments to big adjustments to you rotating all the way across the map. So we're going to start off with the minor ones here and look at them. So you could hear right there at the beginning of the clip, there were some footsteps towards long, there was a bit of presence there. So as Twistzz moves himself to the B side of drop, but after it gets quiet and they don't really hear any more presence, he moves back to the more default position, which is outside around this pillar area. And this seems to be when Liquid have no idea or very little information on where the T side might be. He hangs out around here, either sitting in that window back that I showed before, or he sits in a position like this around the pillar area, making sure his teammates don't get flanked onto. He trusts his teammates, if there's 2 on either side, to hold onto it. You see this position is very strong here, because one, you're going to catch anyone coming around the pillar, but if anyone does come around this other side of the pillar, they're going to be very unlikely to actually check an angle like this. They're going to be much more worried about any other rotator spots. We'll show that in a second, but you can see in this one, Twistzz is just going to move around, he's going to catch the players off guard, and obviously it is quite hard as they're coming out the window, they're jumping and stuff. You see in this one, he's able to clean up a bit of an eco, but you can see how this position is very powerful, how now he does prevent the flanks. And you can see here in this clip with Fur, how sitting in this off angle, this pillar position here, one that actually Twistzz actually plays every now and then, isn't checked by Fur, he's too worried about trying to creep through. This position is really good for not getting shot in the back, but also really just guarding your teammates. So I've shown you a bit of Twistzz defaulting towards the window or the pillar side, which some people would argue is more towards the A side, but honestly it's just a good spot where you can rotate through either door to help your teammates out. And say you do get caught off on the wrong side, rotating towards B can be difficult, but luckily there's the rock position which you can move to very quickly. So you can see in this one they get the sound cues, it's a bit of a B split. So Twistzz makes his priority to get to this rock here as he's going to fight. You see he wants to get a bit of cover before he starts fighting anyone. Gets the call out to Elise, Elise's able to crossfire with him, and they're really able to shut this down as a team quite well. And that's your fastest rotate and your quickest and most common spot to play is that rock position as you do rotate over towards B. Now let's say you have a little bit more time and you have the initial read that it's going to be some kind of B hit, or that's what your thinking is as a team. You can see right now this is not a bad position, you can just jiggle in and out here, trying to avoid any flashes, and if anyone comes around the corner you can hopefully headshot them. We'll see Twistzz rotate into a whole bunch of different positions. Again here, there was no contact, so he started rotating back towards A, but then there's more contact over here towards the B side, so he wants to move straight back, and he positioned himself right here within the walkway, or within the drop down near the E box area, and he's able to get 2 nice little kills. You might be thinking right now, okay, that's very standard, but one thing to notice is how Twistzz has himself tucked in against this wall here, and how when he swings around he's not exposed to plat, they have to push quite far out to see him. I've seen a very common, I mean, mainly lawyer players, but they sit out in the middle of this trying to get some kind of off angle, and it's really not worth it because he doesn't get shot in the back from plat. He's able to swing back around here and help his teammates out. That's what that position is really good about. If you get the information, you can swing back and forth between the 2 walkways very quickly. So let's say you still don't want that off angle effect, or you want to make it difficult for the team to peek you, because obviously in drop they can kind of peek you just one peek at a time. We'll see throughout this round how Rush rotates again. He's in this drop down area, and we're going to see exactly what I talked about in the very first initial clip. This window spot here is able to jiggle in and out. This time he actually could have gotten headshotted. Just draws a little bit of fire, and since you are in the window, you're able to fall away and reposition. Now what I was talking about, where if you still want this kind of off angle, you can sit here just behind the pizza, as I think the Americans call it, or tree from where in Australia. And you can see, you can just kind of position yourself here, and you are not exposed to plat at all. They can just see your gun barrel, but especially with the liege up there, you're not in a whole lot of problem. If they do suddenly explode onto the site, you are generally okay, as you do have this cover. Again, you can swing between both positions as we saw before. You can see it's quite a good off angle. Fur has a whole lot of angles to check as he comes out here. See, he's got to check all these different angles, and he's not expecting Twistzz angle at all. Twistzz takes him out very quickly, and that's just a nice alternative off angle that you can throw in every now and then if you are sure it's going to be some kind of B hit. Now, being in this drop down position, you're in a very strong spot to flash for your teammates both over towards A and towards B. So we'll look at both sides, but look at B initially here. You can really easily throw a pop flash towards the plat area if your teammates need it as you're rotating in. So you'll see as this one, as the B hit comes in, Twistzz isn't really in a position to lock down the drop area from the B side. He's a little bit out of play, or the callouts didn't come initially. But you see as he rotates over here towards the rock, he gets into cover first, making sure he's safe, and then he's going to flash over here and try and blind the player coming out of plat. Bolts avoids it a little bit. But you can see how in this particular play it is quite useful, and especially if you're the last player alive as well, you can do the exact same thing. So in the same situation, say both your B players go down and you're the one rotating over, you can quickly throw a flash in there. A very common one that Twistzz likes to throw is one that just pops out here somewhere, because obviously if his teammates are dead, they're not going to get team flashed by it. Anyone coming off plat's going to get hit, and it gives him just a little bit of extra time to maybe rotate into a stronger spot if he really needs to hold down this B push initially. Being the drop down player, you're also the closest player towards the A site that isn't actually an A defender. So obviously you can also sit towards B on this one, but you're kind of on the site. But if you are playing towards this pillar position, you are normally the player rotating in, the first help on the scene if an A hit comes in. So you can see there's obviously 3 different spots to rotate in. You can go through the door, through the murder hole, or out Rapunzel, whatever you want to call this drop down area from wherever you're from. So you can play in 2 different scenarios. In this particular round, you can see how Twistzz is jumping out the balcony. And this is because, look at where his teammates are right now. His teammate's just gone down here, JDM's still on the site, and now he's jumping at Rapunzel. There's no point walking through door trying to get at murder hole, because you're not really lined up with the defense, and you're not going to apply pressure with your teammates. You're kind of going to move out, not a bit stagnated, if that makes sense. You want to move out with your teammates positioning depend where you're going to rotate out. And you see he's able to get some pressure on, JDM's able to swing out and trade him, Naf was concentrating on him, and just like that, the round's over. So rotating onto the A site, we'll see in a second, is very important. You come out the Rapunzel in a situation where your teammates are forced back, or alternatively, if your teammates are able to get information very early, you can rotate in swiftly and get yourself in a very aggressive position where teammates might not be expecting a third player over towards A. And this is why being so active as a rotator is important, because you can see in a scenario like this, Fur is not expecting a third player here, because the players of the CT team in Steel and Nitro got information so early on, it allowed Twistzz to rotate very fast. There's no hesitation on his part. He's able to get into a position where SK aren't expecting him at all, and he's also able to shut this round down all by himself. So we've seen towards the A side, if your team ends up getting pushed back quite far before you can rotate, you're able to push in down the Rapunzel area, or if your team gets very early information, you can actually push down and get in a very aggressive position if there is the timing, or if the timing's right there. Obviously, this is something you have to read in the game. Now, the third option is something like this. Nitro's just gotten a pick. There's a whole pile of players rushing up middle. So you're a little bit late. You're not able to get aggressive towards middle like we saw before, but you're able to push out door relatively comfortably, as they're not all the way up onto site yet. They're still on the ramp area. And this is something just to keep in your back pocket, is a flash straight over here. Very not fancy, very simple actually. It's a very good one though. Will flash anyone coming up ramp, very hard for them to avoid, and you can just swing out if they are in this mid phase of pushing up this mid ramp area. And yeah, very strong flash, and that's kind of your third option. If you want to push out there, get aggressive with your teammates if they are holding from that position. That flash is very good, will pop behind your teammates, and you can swing out behind it very easily, and pretty much always will blind the players on ramp, as we just saw. And just finally guys, I want you to enjoy this clip between an up and coming star and an old CS legend. I'm also doing a giveaway to celebrate the fact that YouTube has given me monetization back on my channel after screwing me around for 2 months. So give away this AWP here. If you want to get involved in that, make sure to subscribe and also just comment something. Comment your trade URL, but give me something to read as well. Give me a little comment as well. And yeah, besides that, Patreon is still up, but by no means necessary. If you want to just give something extra, it's really much appreciated. It all goes back into the channel. Besides that, have a good one, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.